Alright, let's get into it. So, I wanted you guys to have a bird's eye view of what was going on here. It's going to be the best way for you guys to really see how to operate each of these jigs. So, first I'm going to start with the Arizona E-Z Fletch. Because I don't want to put unnecessary excessive glue on a new arrow, I'm using an old arrow to demonstrate this, but it'll do just fine for you guys. So I'm taking the Boning Pro Strip, or Strip Pro, and I'm gonna just slice these veins off. As you can see, it is that easy. Just after a few swipes, the veins are gone. Now, if you can see, there's just a little bit of, if you can see, there's just a little bit of glue left on there. So I'm gonna take this side part of the Strip Pro. I'm just gonna scrape that off. And that's gonna come right off. So what I'm focusing on, it might be hard to see it with the camera angle, but it's pretty easy to see what's glue and what's carbon. So you really want to focus on just that glue. It's not going to be a huge deal if you scrape off a little bit of carbon. It's probably unavoidable, but I do my best to just focus on all of that glue and try not to scrape all my arrow off. So that's pretty good. Get that mess out of the way. All right. Put that Strip Pro. We're done with him. This is the E-Z Fletch. You just push it up and turn it, and that locks into place. This jig is all about convenience and speed, just like I said in the first video. It's incredibly easy to use, super self-explanatory, but I'm going to show you how I use it. When I'm not explaining it, I can probably fletch an arrow in less than 45 seconds would be my guess, but I'm going to give it a go. So I'm going to load all three of my veins in this jig. As you can see, every arm has a vein. There is a light blue arm that would be for your vein that has a different color, but I shoot all yellow, so it doesn't really matter for me. I'm gonna take my Max Weld primer pen and I'm gonna go up and down these veins a couple times and make sure that it's coming out okay. So I'm going to go up and down a couple times, make sure that I get a good prime on these veins. All this primer needs is 10 seconds to dry, so it's not slowing you down at all. You're just giving it a quick run over, and then you're moving on to your glue. I'm going to do the same thing with the glue that I did with the primer pen. I'm just go one vein at a time, and I'm going to just go from top to bottom. It's definitely preferable to do this in really great lighting, so you can see how much glue you're putting on there. You never need, at least with this AAE Max Bond glue, you don't need as much as you think. So get it good from top to bottom. on those two. Just one more. You've done a great job with the glue if you can figure out how to get just a little bit seeping out of it once you compress those onto the shaft. There's no way I could get a good camera angle of it, but down in the jig there is a little slit for the knock to sit. So now that you have all of your veins in, I like to make sure they're all pressed down so they can be as even as possible. And then I press up really slowly and allow those arms to compress upwards. And then you take this cap, put it over the end of the arrow, and slide it into place. I'm gonna let that sit. Oh, there we go. Now we're cooking with gas. I'm gonna let this sit for 30 seconds or so. Make sure those veins get a nice stick. My biggest frustration with this jig, I'm not sure how these are gonna turn out, but it's pretty easy to see how careful I was with this jig, but it seems like no matter how careful I am, I always seem to have one that's a little bit uneven, but we're gonna see here in just a few seconds. Again, I'm gonna reiterate what I said about the AAE Max Bond glue. As you can see, it didn't dry too slow or too fast. These veins are gonna have a great stick, but I was able to do all 3 veins at a time, so the glue, you know, it takes a few seconds to dry, but it allows me to put glue on all the veins and make sure I'm doing it right. So it's been about 30 seconds. I'm gonna pull this cap off, slide it up. Also like how it stands on its own. That's definitely a convenient aspect of it. So as you can see, there's a little bit of glue just coming out of the bottom of the vein. For me, that is absolutely perfect. These veins are gonna have a great stick, and as you can see, just a nice, aggressive 4 or 5 degree helical, if you can see that. So let's check and just see how even our veins are. Wow. I'm not gonna lie, that's the best I've ever done using this jig, and kind of helps me have a little bit of faith in this jig again. Yeah, so that was a pretty good fletching job. You just have to go slow with this jig. It's easy to get in a hurry and have an uneven vein. So this is the Arizona E-Z Fletch. Like I said, 50 to 60 bucks. You saw how easy it was to use. If I wasn't talking to you guys, I could do it in 45 to 60 seconds. Super easy. Pretty good option for the DIY arrow fletcher. So there you have it. Next, we're gonna try out the Bitzenburger. Super excited for that. Alright guys, we are moving on to the Bitzenburger. This might be a little shaky, but it's going to be worth it because I'm going to give you an up-close view of the Bitzenburger, because it's going to be very important for you to see some of these things up close. So first I'm going to start with the knock receiver. I'm going to move on to the offset adjustments up here. This is already shaping out to be a long video, so I'm going to make this as quick as possible. So let's get going. First, you'll notice these 3 screws here. The Bitzenburger comes with a small Allen to fit these screws. As you can see, the top one says 120 degrees, the middle 90, and then 75 by 105. I am using the 120 degrees. That is the 3 Fletch. Since that's what I'm using, I have that one screwed in, okay? The ones I'm not using, obviously these bottom two, I have screwed out. So you can see that they're sticking up a little bit. That's gonna allow me to get a really definitive positive click whenever I rotate the knock receiver and the arrow to refletch another vein. Up here, both of these two are offset adjustments. My jig is adjusted for the left helical. So as you can see up here, originally when it came in the box, this small line and this big line were in alignment with each other. To get a flush vein, I had to adjust that a little bit. Just had to play with it to where I could get the entire vein on the arrow. At first, when it came out of the box, the vein was kind of hanging off the arrow, wasn't getting a good stick, but that was a super easy fix. Down here, I did not adjust that. It's just how it came, straight on. So now that you have a good overview, everything I say in the next few minutes will make a lot of sense. Alright, so now that you got a good overview of the Bitzenburger, we're going to fletch an arrow. Again, I apologize for the shakiness of that last part, but I do believe it was important for you guys to kind of see it up close and personal. So again, you've already seen the actual jig. These are the clamps that will come with the jig, as you can see. Nice left helical there. What I love more about this Bitzenburger than anything is that you can buy replacement clamps for these jigs. I have a left helical and a straight clamp, so I can test different options and see what's going to work best for me. But for now, and in this video, I'm going to use the left helical. Easton recommends that you have the back of your vein an inch away from the end of the arrow. So that's what I've done. As you can see right there, I've made a mark. So I open the clamp. I'm going to slide my vein. Make sure it's all the way down, flush. You don't want it like that. You want it all the way down. Then I'm going to slide it down to my mark. Make sure it's perfect. You have complete control over this part. There you go, right on the end of that black mark. So now I like to put the glue and the primer on it while it's in the clamp. For obvious reasons, that's going to make it so much easier on you. So that's what I'm going to do. Got my vein in the clamp. Just going to make sure it's getting, there we go. Give that a really good prime. Let that dry, 10 or 15 seconds. Okay, then I'm going to take a glue. A few more seconds, should be dry. Gonna go down the vein with the glue. It's gonna be hard to see with the camera, but got a nice even coating of the glue. So now, as you can see here and here, it's a huge magnet. When I put this clamp down, that magnet is really going to grab that clamp. What you do is you make sure that the base of the clamp is against the jig, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to push down on that and slide the clamp toward the arrow until you get a nice even seal. Beautiful. It's that easy. I'm going to give this a few seconds to dry. Maybe I can give you a good view and how it's got a really nice even seal. All of the vein is on the arrow, and I was able to fix that by taking my big Allen and loosening that and just pushing it to the left a little bit. Okay, this is plenty dry. I'm just gonna release the clamp, pull it off, bam, one vein done. And then all you have to do is take this knock receiver, rotate it to the left until you hear that positive click, and then you're ready to go again. For the purpose of this video and for the length of it, I don't see any benefit in me fletching the last two. So this is the Bitzenburger. You saw the Arizona E-Z Fletch. I hope you've gotten a really great idea as to what is going to be best for you. I think that, you know, in my opinion, I prefer the Bitzenburger, but so many guys use the Arizona E-Z Fletch. Another thing to note, I'll get the jig out of the way. Another thing to note is that this left helical is very, very slight. This is about a 2-degree helical compared to a 4 or 5 degree with the Arizona E-Z Fletch. So that is another thing to take into consideration whenever you are choosing which jig is best for you. Hey guys, I just wanted to hop back on here real quick and just say thank you. I hope you enjoyed this little 2-part series on how I fletch my arrows. For now, you'll have to pardon the unprofessional filmmaking. I'm new to this, it's not something that I have a background in, but I'm looking forward to producing a better video for you each and every week, and hopefully you'll stick along for the journey. For now, like these videos, subscribe to the channel, and turn post notifications on so you'll never miss my weekly video. Until then, shoot straight and go fletch some arrows.